everyone, welcome back to Max Food Studio. My name is Chef Katy and I'm with Explore Healing Food and Movement. Today we're going to be covering my very favorite savory breakfast to meal prep. We did a sweet version of this too. It's already on our channel. Click on the link here to check it out. First up, we're making a Mediterranean frittata. I already have 6 eggs whisked. We're going to add some marjoram. Some of you may know this as marjoram. Pronounce it however you want. We're adding about a teaspoon of that, and then about a teaspoon of thyme, a few pinches of freshly ground black pepper, and then a little bit of salt. Everybody perceives salt a little bit differently. I like to take 3 fingers and do about 3 pinches. We'll mix this up. And then we're going to add our goat cheese in. You could also use feta. We're using humble goat though because they're nice and local and we love the people that run the company. I'm just gonna take a spoon and literally spoon some into the bowl. Just added the goat cheese in here. And now we're just gonna take the fork and break up the goat cheese in the eggs. You know, maybe. Sometimes it helps to slide it against the bowl. Okay, so we have our goat cheese all mashed in with the herbs and the eggs. We're gonna add our grape tomatoes and our garlic into our pre-oiled tinfoil pan. You can also use parchment if you don't like tinfoil. This is an 8x8. Honestly, with 6 eggs, if you like a fluffier frittata, you could use a bread pan if you want to and make it real thick. All right, we're gonna pour our egg mixture on top, trying to get out all of those little good bits that might have stuck to the bowl. And then you just mix the garlic and tomatoes so that it's all over kind of the bottom of the frittata pan. And we're gonna pop it in the oven for 20 minutes. Here's our frittata. It smells amazing, it crusted beautifully, and there's about 6 portions here. So you can just portion it up, put it in your fridge, and use it as your breakfast to go. Thanks. All right, up next, we're gonna make a breakfast burrito. I'm gonna start with these black beans. They're already drained. We're just gonna put them into a bowl. And then beans can sit in the gut really heavy. So we're gonna add some lime juice to the beans to lighten it up. And we're just gonna let this sit here and marinate while we go over to the burner and we're gonna saute some red bell pepper and onion. All right, so let's get the peppers and onion sauteing. So first step, we're gonna add a little bit of sunflower oil to the center of our pan. And then we're gonna add all of our dried spices in. I like to add my dried spices in. We're adding about a half a teaspoon of each to the oil right away. Whoops, wrong side. And we're gonna flavor the oil with all of the dried spices. So as the pan starts to heat up, the oil is gonna get really hot and it's gonna absorb all of the flavor from the dried spices. So the oil is starting to heat up. You can smell all of the spices infusing with the oil. So next we're gonna be adding in our red onion. You always add in like onions, garlic, alliums they're called, first. And as soon as this gets to be translucent, then we'll add the red bell pepper in. Our onions are now starting to turn translucent. It's smelling fantastic. We're gonna add our red bell pepper now. Ignore the eggs rolling. All right. We're just gonna gently stir them in. I'm one of those people that likes a crisp bell pepper in their burrito. Maybe that's weird, but we're not gonna cook this for too long before adding our eggs in. And we're just going to crack the eggs on a flat surface. Never do it on the rim. That's a myth. And then we just are gonna start to stir it in fast. It's already starting to coagulate, it's called. And we're gonna just cook it. We want these eggs to be really creamy. We have our tortilla that we just warmed up. And now we're gonna start by placing the drier mixture on the bottom. So, to make that epic, huge burrito, you're gonna pile a little bit of the egg, pepper, and onion mix, kind of where the first and second quadrant of the tortilla meet, and you never wanna go right to the edges. We're not gonna do that. We're going to try our best to put the beans right on the edge of the egg and pepper mixture. So this is a lot right here. If you wanted to use a smaller tortilla, obviously you could, and this would you'd get like 4 burritos out of it if you use smaller tortillas. I really am a giant burrito gal though, so that's what we're going for today. We're going to pinch up on the far edge or the edge closest to us and start to wrap that burrito, trying to get all that goodness inside. Fold the corners shut, kind of just like they do at Chipotle. And then from here, we have these like awkward edges, so we're gonna take another fold in so that the edges start to straighten out. Ta-da! Burrito. We're even gonna do the fancy diagonal cut. So how we do that, we have our slicer knife. We're going to place the tip of the blade up, pinching up on that blade, very, very gently rock your knife back, rock forward, pull back, and we have our burrito. All right, cheers everyone. Okay, so our third option for a savory breakfast is going to be a play on a breakfast bento box. Basically just breakfast snacking. So if you're like me and you eat 3 times during the morning, this is for you. So we have some Greek yogurt with slivered almonds and a little bit of nutmeg. So we're gonna add some honey onto our blueberries. We've got some raw honey from 3 Bears. And we're just gonna add that into the blueberry mixture. You can also just add the honey into the yogurt. I mainly use raw honey as an antibacterial, especially during fall, springtime, when we're going through seasonal transitions. It's really beneficial for our health. We also have some nut butter. This is optional. I usually recommend either going with either the nut butter or the slivered almonds, but if you want to add both, you could play with adding both. This adds a really good hit of fat and like stability in the nervous system if you need that in the morning. All right, last but not least, let's talk about these hard-boiled eggs. So these may kind of seem like the outlier in this box, but we added them for a reason. This Greek yogurt kind of mixture that we've got going on, this is about 12 grams of protein here, maybe 15 if you add the nut butter. These 2 hard-boiled eggs add another 14 grams of protein to the dish. So as you're eating breakfast in the morning or snacking through the morning, maybe you start with that and then you hit yourself with another 14 grams of protein later on when you start to feel that morning fatigue set in. So all we're gonna do with the eggs, half them down the center. I have my egg boiling method in the instructions in the recipe down below. I do mine a little bit weird, so check it out. Then we can pile the eggs back in with a little bit of salt on top. You could also add paprika. You could add any other spice that you really enjoy, but I just like mine with a little bit of salt, maybe pepper.